Happy Friday, April 16th, 2020. Vegas, baby. How excited are you, Jake? After the show, we are making eggs and hash browns and then hitting the road for Vegas. I'm fired up.
You should be. It's
I'm
going to be
ready.
fun.
I am ready. We are, do we tell people where we're going?
Yes.
Going to the Cosmopolitan. We're going to Mastro's Ocean Club for dinner. Tonight, 12 hours from now, we will be neck deep in a New York strip.
Medium, in case anybody was wondering.
Prawns, 10 or 12 martinis.
Chipotle mac and cheese.
Oh, yes. Yes, yes. It's going to be amazing. Road trip in the weekend, but not before we do the Monty Show right here live on YouTube. By the way, Jake and I are currently negotiating a giveaway. Mm-hmm. We have an incredible item that Jake is refusing to take part in this giveaway, but he wants all the accolades because he's a cheap son of a beach turtle. Mm-hmm. And I just think it's wrong that you would deprive our viewers of such an amazing prize.
I'm not depriving anybody of anything. You decided to make a purchase, and I came up with a brilliant idea.
So are you going to chip in?
Purchase.
Are you going to chip in?
Chip into what, though?
The purchase.
Of what?
I came out pocket, which means I spent money in technical terms, for a great prize to give away here on the show.
I don't give a baker's fuck.
Well, but I do give a baker's F because you know it's our show.
It's really unfair.
It is unfair. Are you going to don't? Are you going to?
Am I going to donate? Is it a tax deduction? Is it a write-off?
Yes, it could be. Yes, it's a business expense. Is it not? Mrs. Monty is our tax accountant. Mrs. Monty, is it not a business expense? That it is. That it is.
Well,
that it is.
We will be doing a giveaway for 500 subscribers. Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
And it's an Xbox, but we're not going to tell you what it is.
We're not going to tell you what it is.
Until Jake pays his half.
Right.
Gabe Ledley, good morning to you. He says, safe travels to Vegas, boys. I'll Venmo you $20 to put on Red 19.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, now, the other thing I'm willing to do is I'm willing to take your sports betting Utah Jazz versus the LA Lakers numbers for tomorrow. Because don't forget, it's Pacers and Lakers back-to-back, and then Monday the Jazz play the Lakers again. So I will be betting Jazz and Lakers in Salt Lake City, or actually in LA that game is, on Saturday night in Vegas. Because we're going to put some sports bets down, right?
Maybe.
Mrs. Monty and I will play a little roulette, play some blackjack, bet some NBA. You're not going to bet NBA.
Yeah, I mean, I might.
You're a jerk.
I'm not a huge gambler. I got to be honest with you.
Wait, before we get into the NBA and how racist the Jazz are, let's recap. You won't chip in any money. You won't come out of pocket to help our listeners and reward them for being amazing subscribers here on YouTube.
Here's a code 10 abort.
Yeah, so you won't come out of pocket for that. You won't pay for your own dinner. You won't. You still live in my basement, so you won't pay your own rent.
You're welcome.
It's amazing. The drop machine works all of a sudden. You just won't gamble. You won't chip in money to have a good time in Vegas. Well, I mean, why are we cutting diamonds out the butthole, man?
What does that even mean? What does that mean?
It means I'm just joshing you. All right. So yes, 500 subscribers. We are, and we'll talk about this more on Monday once we get over Jake being a tightwad and
here's the game plan.
Not contributing to the Xbox giveaway that we're going to do for our 500 subscribers. It will involve hashtags on social media and subscribing to our YouTube channel, The Monty Show. MONTY, The Monty Show, TheMontyShow.com, The Monty Show on Twitter, The Monty Show on Instagram, and your mom. Let's get into it. I just threw that in like I threw it in your mom. Anyway, the point.
Wow.
Come on, that was amazing. Tell me that wasn't amazing.
It was amazing.
I'm not wearing socks. Okay, so the point is, let's get into some Utah Jazz, into a very serious conversation, because to say this is infuriating is an understatement. So you may know this. Do you want me to wait while you play that?
I'm just trying to get Twitter to buff up. I don't know.
Okay,
I
yeah,
have
I'm
it
gonna-
signed,
there you go. I turned your little computer
This all
off.
works right. And,
I turned your little computer off.
Twitter is,
The Utah Jazz are giving a scholarship away for every win this season. They're giving it to a minority student who is underprivileged. And immediately people started saying that the Jazz are a racist organization because they're discriminating against white kids.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, on its surface, this is probably a couple of morons who are just playing the race card, and okay, it's fine. Well, then Spencer Cox does his regular appearance. Spencer J. Cox, the governor of Utah, does a semi-regular appearance on KSL, which is the big news station in Salt Lake City. So Spencer Cox goes on KSL. It's a sickness. Goes on KSL, and what do you know? Idiot from Idiotsville calls in and asks good old Spencer J. Cox about punishing the Utah Jazz because they're racist. Jake, go ahead.
Hello.
See,
This is what Twitter does, dude. I'm telling you.
And you wonder.
It's awful.
And you wonder why.
Next caller, that is David in Highland. Good afternoon, David. What is your question for the governor?
Hi, Governor. The Utah Jazz is excluding white children from consideration for their scholarship program. Do you think this is racist? And what will you do to prevent the Utah Jazz from acting in this racist manner?
Well, I don't think it's racist. In fact, I think it's in response to, unfortunately, some very difficult and racist injustices that have happened in our community for a long time. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do for the Utah Jazz. Absolutely nothing. Because you know what? I believe in the Constitution, and I believe in the freedom of businesses to make decisions, and decisions that are right for them. Your kid or my kid, they have no right to the Utah Jazz's money, and the Utah Jazz and Ryan Smith can do the things that they want to do with their funds and their revenues. And look, it's an awesome program, and it's something that we should be celebrated. The cool thing is that the Utah Jazz have more wins than any team in the nation, which means that there are more scholarships available for kids in our state. And those kids, these are kids who are in at-risk communities. These are kids who have struggled. These are kids who have not had access to the same opportunities that my kids and your kids have had. We live in a nation that does have a very difficult history, and sometimes we try to ignore it. A history of racial injustice, a history where of course, slavery being the most severe and awful example of that.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack here. But first of all, this is not a racist decision by the Utah Jazz. It's not. And I'm going to tell you as gently as I can tell you that this is why the state of Utah has a stigma that it is a pure white, perfect state, because there's a lot of people who would love if that happened. And I actually shouldn't say that. I think there's a lot of Utahns who are perfectly well-adjusted, normal folks. David in Highland does not appear to be one of them. He's the individual who asked Governor Cox that question. The Utah Jazz are giving a full 4-year scholarship to a minority underprivileged child who wants to go to college for every home win. That's going to be 30-something scholarships. So my point is, or for every win period. So that's going to probably be 50, 60 scholarships, 50, 60 kids who are going to college that wouldn't have the opportunity. Mm-hmm. And the truth of the matter is, and I can't say it any more directly than this, if you don't understand that minority kids, those that are brown skinned, whether they're black, Latino, that minority underprivileged kids do not have the same opportunity, do not have the same exposure to scholarships that white kids have, you're living in a dreamland. you're living under a rock. Minority kids have a very difficult time getting access to higher education, financially, opportunity, test scoring, lower level education. All of those things work against underprivileged, poor minority communities. And Utah is not exempt from that. And if you don't understand that, I think you truly don't want to understand that, because it's clear as day. What Spencer Cox said here was not racist. And I will remind you that if Spencer Cox had defended white kids doing this, Spencer Cox would have been roundly criticized for this. Because David and Highland and all those people that agree with David and Highland, those are the people that are the problem. You are the ones that are racist. This is no different than, well, hey, Black Lives Matter, but all lives matter. No, what you don't understand is the plight of the black people in the United States of America, going back to the origins of racism and slavery, where people were plucked out of their homes, taken essentially hostage, put on a ship, sailed across an ocean to a place they didn't even know existed, and forced into labor for the rest of their lives. They had no say in it. That's where these problems began. And the issue is that people like David and Highland want to say, well, all lives matter. Actually, the plight of the black man in the United States of America in 2021 is a real problem, and it's a real problem right now, and we need to address it right now. Because how many people are going to have to be, how many black people are going to have to be killed by cops? Well, in Chicago, a 13-year-old kid shot by cops yesterday, right? You have a 26-year police officer murdering a black man, thinking she had her taser in her hand instead of a gun. You're looking at this Chauvin trial in Minneapolis. How do you not understand that the plight of minorities in this country is at a crisis level, and sending 50 or 60 underprivileged minority kids to college on a full 4-year ride is not racist, it's noble, and it's amazing. And until we wrap our heads around that, Utah has a problem with race. And I hate to say that because I love this state. I think it will forever be my home. But it's really disappointing to me, Jake, to hear phone calls like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always going to be, it's always going to be there. I think it's naive to think that, racism is permanently and forever going to be, knocked out. That's just not a realistic viewpoint. And I think that we're always going to get callers like this. And I think the thing is that the real issue in our country is that the small few who are racist and do believe in all this crazy stuff are the loudest ones in the room. And the masses who are normal folks who, love this program out of the Jazz just don't say anything. And that really is the issue. We always hear from, these people who have all these horrible thoughts about the way the world should be. And so that leads us to believe that a lot of people think that, which is not true.
Not at all.
If you look at like the it's quieted down now, but when the Proud Boys were huge, there was this whole thing. There were several documentaries and shows done about how the Proud Boys really aren't even that big of an organization from a global standpoint. The problem is that they know how to use marketing to spread their word. But
why is it quieted down? Why did it get tamped up? Why did it blow up? Because the president of the United States refused to condemn the Proud Boys, right? And you have things like Virginia City, and then you have the insurrection on January 6th, where now we know that the Proud Boys were actually in communication with White House staff, and there was a plan in place to attack the Capitol. And so why are the Proud Boys being heard from less? Because a lot of them are in jail, and they're being prosecuted for their part in the insurrection on January 6th. The issue is not, and again, I don't mean to make this something more than it is. The issue is not even that, hey, you're a racist. The issue is your actions because you're a racist. And when you call out somebody like Ryan Smith, the owner of the Utah Jazz, who I want to play this clip from him because I think this is really important that you hear from him in his own words. But when you call out the owner of the Jazz because he's giving is 60, 70 kids, 50, 60, 70 kids a chance to go to college who in other circumstances would likely not have a chance to go to college on a full 4-year scholarship? I think you're the one that's got the problem. Here's Utah Jazz owner Ryan Smith.
In tech, if I were just to say to a ratio standpoint, we were spending probably 50-1 efforts on other things as opposed to social justice issues. And I truly believe that we have platforms to do good. And systemic racism or unconscious bias around racial issues or social issues, it's real. We had it within our own organization, and it wasn't that people were consciously trying to do something. It's just we weren't active in saying, hey, we're going to go use our platform to drive systematic change. And we have equity problems across pay, across race, within our communities. And I just want to look back and say, hey, I did everything I possibly could to make the world a more equitable place. And I'll just tell you, like, we have not been doing everything we possibly can. And people have been using the platform of the NBA to go and drive that change. And, I think the one thing that doesn't get talked about is how the players came together to have a very constructive voice around getting people out to vote. They weren't telling people how to vote. They were saying, hey, come out and vote. And we drove more people than ever to vote. And I think the NBA has a big piece of pride that they should have in that of using the platform to do good. That is a very kind and honest and earnest ask for folks.
Yeah, and I think that his main point there is we didn't tell you who to vote for. We just wanted to make sure you voted, right? And when you look at the platform that the NBA has, and again, I think this is another huge part of this. There is a large number of people who just don't want to hear from athletes in the NBA because, much like Fox News, they want LeBron James to shut up and dribble. And a lot of that is based in the fact that they're black athletes. And I think that's a problem. And if you're Ryan Smith, the owner of the Utah Jazz, you are supporting black athletes, so you are a problem, right? Anybody that supported Colin Kaepernick was a problem. Well, the issue really then turns into, hey, Dave and Highland and everybody else who freaked out on Twitter over this yesterday, you're the issue. You're the issue. And it is really troubling to me. It's voter suppression in Georgia. If you don't see that forbidding people to vote by mail and forbidding and making it difficult for individuals to stand in line, essentially you're saying,
certain
hey,
individuals,
black individuals, let's not even beat around the bush in Georgia.
Don't beat around the bush, yeah.
Black people in Georgia, they don't want them voting. The powers that be in Georgia don't want black folks voting by mail. They don't. They make it very difficult. They make it very difficult for anybody that's poor, that is indigent, because now all of a sudden you have to have an ID and you have to have this and you have to do that.
Want
and by the way,
white people.
Yeah, and if you show up and vote and you have to stand, because that's what's going to happen. They know that you're in some cases going to stand in line in Georgia for 7 to 12 hours. Nobody can bring you food. Nobody can bring you water. Why would that be a problem? Well, it's a problem because then you can more ably stand in line for 7 to 12 hours when you've been fed and you have water. But they don't want you to stand in line because they don't want you to vote. That's the issue. And so when I hear Ryan Smith say, hey, we have a responsibility in tech and in the NBA to make social change with our platform, why would you have an issue with that? Other than the fact that you don't want to see, minority kids get educated.
Yeah, the best part about this whole thing is this isn't about like politics and sports. This isn't about, the two like commingling. This is about the fact that people just simply disagree with it. I mean, Ryan Smith could own, Ryan Smith could own Amazon and you'd be all pissed off about this.
Yeah.
So it really has almost nothing to even do with the Jazz. I think people just like to use that as an excuse. And I think it's funny that the accountability piece in politics, whether we're talking about Matt Gaetz or Donald Trump or David and, wherever the hell this was, it's not there. We don't want to just say to people, hey, you just disagree with this, and that's what it is, and that's fine. You're entitled to that opinion, but that doesn't mean that the Jazz and Ryan Smith are racist or that Spencer Cox is racist. That just does not mean that.
Yeah, Ilort Gnick says compensating to mask being racist? Question mark. Come on, it comes with the territory. It's like an open secret. Utah is a racist place. This is why the NBA media troll your Utah guys team. I don't know that inherently Utah is a racist place. And I know this probably isn't going to sit well with a lot of our Utah listeners. And I hope you take it for what I say at face value, because I mean nothing more than what I'm about to say. Racism is a real problem in religion. When you combine the Mormon Church and racism, there's a lot of racism in the church.
They coexist.
There's a lot, yeah, they coexist. There's a lot of superiority. There's a lot of belief that as a member of the LDS community that you're elite, that you need to be perfect, and that anybody that's got the most subtle flaw isn't on your level. Racism in the church is systemic. It is built into religion. And as somebody that has faith, I don't like religion. I am not a fan of, I just am not a fan of organized religion. I think a lot of bad things come out of it. And I think racism is one of those things. And I think in Utah, there is a stigma about the perfect race. And a lot of that is centered on the church because, for those of you who don't know, in the Mormon LDS community, perfection is actually sought after. And it is a real problem. It does real damage to human beings because nobody's perfect. And I just don't believe anybody should try to be perfect. Mm-hmm. I think you should aspire to be a good person and operate at a high level. But if you're trying to be perfect or you believe that you should be perfect, you are going to fail your entire life.
Yeah, it's a misguided outtake because the perfection is undefined. It's different for everybody.
It is. Will says, you're such a hypocrite, Monty. You talk about having open discussions and exchanging ideas, and just because my opinion doesn't agree with your opinion doesn't mean I'm wrong, when all you're doing here is calling people racist because they don't agree with you. No,
it's not.
That's actually not what's happening, Will. What's happening is that there's a great number of people, and I'm guessing you're in this group, but there's a great number of people who think that because you're excluding, white kids. Well, maybe it's not that you're excluding white kids. What you're actually doing is serving the community that most needs help, who cannot get help any other way than a tech billionaire reaching out and sending 50, 60, 70 kids to college on his own dime because nobody else will. And if he doesn't, those kids won't go to college. Mm-hmm. If you look at the system that's in place, white kids have far more access to scholarships than minority kids do. This is inarguable. It is a fact. The statistics don't lie. Look at SAT and ACT numbers, which are the two stupidest barometers for whether or not you should get into Harvard. Mm-hmm. Like it's one of the worst barometers ever. Who does well on those tests? Overwhelmingly, white kids from affluent neighborhoods that are usually suburban.
Lori Loughlin.
Those are, but that's my point. It's not that the kid even has to do well. What we learned from the college admission scandal through sports is that you can pay for a better score. But if you're a poor black kid, from South Salt Lake or Rose Park, can your parents afford to pay tens of thousands of dollars to get you a better SAT score?
Do you realize the daily plight of some of these kids compared to, a white kid in an affluent community? I mean, some of these kids are literally taking a public bus, or like they're having to do all of these extra things just to get the basics done. And so it has, with all due respect to Will, and we appreciate your take, it has nothing to do with the disagreement. It has everything to do with the reality of these kids. I mean, they just don't have they're not living in the same world that some of us are living in. They don't have, they don't have a guaranteed meal tomorrow. They don't have, Jordans. They don't have a roof over their head consistently.
Yeah. Mike says this is the Black Lives Matter crap all over again. If you have to explain it, they're probably never going to get it.
Yeah.
I mean, that might be very true.
I think that is a.
That might be very true.
I think that that's a decent comparison.
Money brings opportunity in this country.
Yeah. Money is the lifeblood of all opportunity in the United States of America. It's as simple as
Absolutely.
that.
Real quick before we have exclusive audio of Spencer Cox. We talked to him about this yesterday. You don't want to miss it. It's amazing. Eric and Raleigh says, until Black Lives Matter, no one can say all lives matter. I agree with that. Racism is embedded in religion. Doesn't matter the flavor of religion. No, I totally agree with that.
Completely. 100%.
Equalizing the opportunity feels like racism to white people who have always had better access. It does.
Yeah.
It does. And I think what people in this situation don't understand is you're not limiting the access of those white kids to scholarships.
They already have access.
They have a ton of access. They have a ton of access to student aid. They have a ton of access to federal student loans. Like all the things, all the ways to go to college that minority kids don't have. They have access just on the scholarship level alone. The Caucasian child has far more opportunity than the poor minority child. The poor white kid has far more opportunity than the poor black kid.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Ryan Smith is achieving here. Anyway, we had the opportunity to talk to Governor Cox one-on-one. We ran into him on the street last night just by coincidence. And we asked him, Governor, hey, do you want to apologize for the things you said on KSL?
From the bottom of my heart, I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the fuck he wants.
Amazing. And listen to Salt Lake City cheering
They're
in the
just
background.
so thrilled.
Come on, that was awesome.
I thought it was awesome.
I think it was awesome. I fully support Spencer Cox. Obviously, I'm somebody that, I talked openly about my support of him when he was running for governor. I think he handled this exactly the right way. It was an ambush kind of question, and I think Spencer Cox handled it well. All right, can we actually talk some like real NBA basketball?
Well, this is a sports show, so,
Stick to sports!
Stick to sports guy.
I'm unsubscribing!
All right, we'll see you later.
All right, have a good life. Won't have a chance to win an Xbox on this show, sir.
See you later.
Yeah, JC says opportunity is one thing, outcomes are another. People should have access to opportunities. Exactly right.
Yep.
I agree. All people should have access to the best education. And this is a thing, and I said we were done with it, but
Yeah.
I'm just going to be done with it right here. This is the thing about education. You should not have to go $100,000 in debt to get an education so that you can get that perceived better job. Does that make sense? Because there's such a stigma that I'll never be a millionaire if I don't go to USC, if I don't go to Harvard, if I don't go to Yale, if I don't go to Stanford. I'll never be a millionaire, which is completely wrong. Until we get to a place in this country where we can say, hey, you know what? I don't think college is a good fit for me. I'm gonna go into business for myself. When your kid says that to you, you should pat him on the back and say, I'm here to support you. Instead, we say, no, you're going to college or you have to get out of the house. No, I won't support you. And then when they fail, you want to say, oh, hey, see, I told you so. Instead of saying, you know what, I totally get it. That's not what I would do, but I'm going to support you because you're my son, you're my daughter. What's your business idea? Let's talk about it. Here, let me see if I can help you be successful.
I want to thank me.
Right?
I want to thank me for believing in me. I want to thank me for doing all this hard work. I want to thank me for having no days off.
That's Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg's a multi-millionaire. Did he go to college? No, he didn't. My point is, you shouldn't have to go tens of thousands. I mean, the average student loan debt has to be
40, 50 racks.
40, 50 racks,
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you want a master's degree, forget about it.
Yeah, now you're in the hundreds. Yeah.
My point is, if you don't want to go to college, don't go to college. It shouldn't be a decision of, well, if I don't go to college, dad's going to kick me out of the house, or mom's never going to forgive me, or it's an embarrassment to her if I don't go to college. Some kids just aren't programmed to go to college. That doesn't mean you're going to fail. That doesn't mean you're not going to be successful. When we get to a place in this country where we realize that it's okay to take your own path, when we get to a place in this country where we realize it's okay to fail, because when you fail and you get up and you keep going, eventually you're going to succeed, right? If we would get to a place of understanding where it's okay to bet on ourselves, it's okay to wager on me instead of a trigonometry or a biology professor at USC. When it's okay to wager on ourselves, now we're living.
Yeah, I heard a saying. I can't remember. I can go find it after the show, but basically the saying. Actually, I think it was Gary Vee who said it. Who said that college. The reason that entrepreneurs don't do well in college is because college is for people who want to become employees.
That's right.
And entrepreneurs really struggle with that.
What do we always say on this show?
Yeah.
A paycheck is the drug they give you to make you forget about your dreams.
Yeah.
It's absolutely true. I can only tell you, and we've talked about it often on the show, and if you're new to this show, maybe this isn't new to you, I don't know. But if you're new to this show, we have like 3-4 business lines we're trying to develop. I have a full-time job that pays my bills, but we're doing 5 other things because I'm not in this to take a paycheck from Yelp every 2 weeks. I don't work. I said this to a guy yesterday. I don't work for every other Friday. I work for one day of the month because that's when I get my commission check. That's the day I work for because that day's about me. And why I work for that one day a month is so that I don't ever have to take another paycheck again. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, that day is coming. And we are working towards that. And I'm telling you, I have failed miserably at becoming an entrepreneur in several ventures in the past that have cost me money, that put me in debt.
Lots of money.
But I fought and I dug, and my wife and I and Jake and the 3 of us, Team Monty as we like to call it, worked hard and we dug ourselves out of that hole.
I want to thank me for having no days off.
I do. I want to thank me for digging that hole in the ground. I want to thank me and my wife and my son for jumping into that deep-ass hole where I was 6 figures in debt nearly. And I want to thank me and Team Monty for working hard to get out of that hole, and now we're debt-free. And now we're able to build the life that we've wanted to build. But it annoys me to no end that people want to sit here and say, if you want to succeed in this country, you better get a college degree. Because that's a bunch of bullshit. That's just not true. I'm telling you. JC says, I didn't go 100K, I went 40K, but yeah, sure. Grad school is often funded through. Well, I would love that, but you know. Ilort Gnick says, so Pacers or Jazz? Oh, you're taking the Jazz. Yeah, let's talk some NBA. I feel like this was a bloodletting. 33 minutes into the show. I feel like this was a bloodletting. Pacers and Jazz tonight. Make sure, by the way, if you're watching this video, please give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. Again, we are somewhere around 360 subscribers at this point. We're trying to, get to 500 as soon as we can because you can't get to 1,000 without 500. So we're really trying to grow to 500.
Did you learn that in your college degree?
I did.
You did.
I learned that in the math class I never sat through.
Yeah.
But you can't get to 1,000 without getting to 500. But at 500 subscribers, we're going to do an Xbox giveaway that Jake is going to pay half of, whether he wants to or not.
I doubt that.
No, he's not going to. He won't. But we're going to do an Xbox Series S giveaway on this show when we get to our 500 subscribers. We get closer. I think we're about 140 away from 500. And again, I really appreciate everybody who supports this show because our growth on this channel in 7-8 weeks has been remarkable. I think we've only been on the channel or on YouTube live every day for going on 2 months.
About 8 weeks.
Yeah.
I think this is our 8th week.
We, in the last 28 days, I think we did 100 and something subscribers, and you guys really support the show. So if this is your first time on the show, please hit subscribe. If you're here right now, please give us a thumbs up. We really appreciate that. Jazz, Pacers, Jazz, Lakers, off on Sunday, Jazz, Lakers again on Monday. This is a really important weekend for the Jazz and for the Lakers. I think the Jazz are going to steamroll the Pacers. Frankly, I think it's going to be a difficult matchup because the Pacers play with tenacity. There's no doubt about that. But I think when you look at where the Jazz are and what is on the line for them, I think they know the Suns are playing at a very high level. But I also think they heard the rumblings that Monday may be a different day in Lakerland because Anthony Davis may well play in that game. Now, I think they're saying he's going to be limited to 18 minutes when he does come back. But there's a chance Anthony Davis plays in that Jazz-Laker game in L.A. on Monday. So I think these next two games, the Jazz need to run away in these next two games. Jake, I guess the question is, will they?
Yeah, I think they will. Even with I was thinking about this last night and thinking about, these rumblings about Anthony Davis coming back and, he's been cleared for full on-court basketball activities, and so he's getting close. Even if he does play the 18 minutes, let's say he plays all 18 minutes, that's not going to be enough for him to truly have a massive impact on this game and hold the Jazz down. What we know about this team, and if you watch the Jazz on a regular basis, you'll know this. They like to get off to slow starts in games. They heat it up in the third, and then they put you away in the fourth. That's been their. I don't even know if I would call it their strategy, but it's just how they operate. And so when I think about this Laker game and I think about Anthony Davis coming back potentially in that game, the thing that concerns me is they get down 10, 15 points early. That would be my only concern. You're going to play the Pacers, then you're going to play the Lakers, then Anthony Davis might come back. So you're kind of in this little mini stretch where you're going to play a couple tougher games here, and even if they lose the game, frankly, it isn't the end of the world because I think right now the Jazz could use a healthy dose of not humble pie, but just you want to keep them engaged. We've got the best record in the league. We're in a great spot. What are we playing for right now, these last 20 or 30 spots? And that's the 1 seed. You're playing for the 1 seed. And the Suns are right behind you. They're pushing you. So Quinn Snyder needs to make sure that this team stays locked in because you can't afford to lose 4 or 5 in a row with the Suns where they are.
Well, and we sit here on Friday morning, and the Suns find themselves 1 game out of first place in the Western Conference. So every one of these games matters. I don't know when the Jazz will lose again, though, because if we're keeping it real as we tend to do on this show, if we're keeping it real, I look at this schedule, Jake, and I don't see a whole lot of losses down the stretch here. They're gonna trounce Indiana. I would guess. I want to say that game isn't that an afternoon game today? I think it's 1 o'clock.
I think so, but I'd have to check.
Lakers both on the road, Saturday and Monday. They're going to win both those games. Then they go to Houston on Wednesday, and I think we all know where Houston is. Back-to-back, home for Mini, at Sac, and then they go to Phoenix to end the month on April 30th. That's probably the next game.
That's one of the biggest games of the year right there.
I think it is. Yeah. I would agree with that. And I think that's probably the next game on this schedule, at least in my opinion, that they lose.
What do they have after that?
Lose.
What do they have after the Suns game?
After Phoenix, it's home for Toronto, San Antonio, home for Denver, home for Houston, at Golden State. That could be a tough game.
So Denver and Golden State are 2 games that are...
Well, frankly, I think Toronto. I think San Antonio 2 nights in a row is going to be very difficult.
Yeah.
I think Denver. I think at Golden State, home for Portland, and then they should roll in Oklahoma City.
Portland's a tough game.
Portland's a tough game, and then they should roll to finish the year May 14th and 16th at OKC and at Sacramento.
How many wins do they have right now? What's their record?
I think they have 800 wins. They're 41 and 14.
So I have 41, yeah. This is probably a 60 win team?
Yeah, it
now?
feels like it.
60 wins. So, I just think that there is not a lot of room for the Jazz to mess this up, right? There's not a lot of opportunity for them to mess this up. There's a lot of wins coming down the stretch. There's a lot of easy games. But at the same time, you're going to see the Suns one more time. You're going to see the Nuggets one more time. You're going to see Sacramento one more time. And everybody, it's funny, last night, all the sports guys in the Phoenix media scene were talking about the woeful Kings and how bad the Kings are. And I'm just telling you guys, much like the Wizards game, the Kings game is no gimme game. That is a game that the Kings will battle this team. I do think the Jazz will win it, but when we talk about, hey, how far can they get with their record? How many wins can they really stack? those
I think
games where you
it's-
have to battle, make it harder.
Yeah, they have 17 games left. I think they win 15 of 17.
Yeah.
And I think they wind up with 56 wins.
Okay.
That's that. I just don't see them, and they may wind up with. Frankly, they may wind up with 58 wins. I mean, I could
Which
be
should
wrong
just
about
be
that.
a hell of a season, man. I mean,
yeah,
that's
I mean,
crazy.
and by the way, that's 56 kids that went to college.
Just saying.
So anyway, my point is, I don't know. I think that Phoenix game's the next chance to lose.
Yeah.
Because I do think they're going to go to LA and
I'd love to see the Jazz and Suns play a 7-gamer. I really would
Oh
love to
my
see
God!
it, man. I
Can
would
you
love to
imagine how
see it.
that would be unbelievable? The interesting part about this Jazz team is they really struggle with athletic guards that get in the paint, and every team has that, but they don't struggle against every team because the quality of that guard is different. The Lakers have a selection of guards that make life difficult. And Montrezl Harrell is a difficult guard for them. He always has been. So it'll be interesting to see. Rudy's had the better of Montrez over the last probably full season. It'll be interesting to see how the Lakers attack the paint because this time Schroeder's healthy. And Dennis Schroeder's a difficult guard on any night. But I think the Jazz are going to struggle. I'm interested to see, can Bojan Bogdanović continue to shoot the way he's shot lately? Can he continue to contribute the way that he's contributed?
Yeah.
And today against the Pacers, I think it's really important. I also look at Royce O'Neal. I think Royce O'Neal is really struggling right now. He is not contributing much offensively. I mean, if you go back and look at Royce's game log, it's been a minute since he's had a big game.
Yeah.
It's been a minute since he's hit more than 1 3 in a game.
Yeah.
So I think you got to watch that as well. Forgotten Souls says Pacers are trash. Good morning to you, Forgotten Souls. He says, if you look at the upcoming schedule, there's like one game I could see the Jazz losing, and that's the Suns game. I think Suns and Nuggets.
Yeah. I think the challenging games are the Suns, the Nuggets. I think
Portland, certainly,
Portland,
which is a game
certainly.
that Mrs. Monty and I are going to because Jake doesn't want to go. But Mrs. Monty and I are going to go to that Portland game, and I'm hoping to get to the Denver game as well. But I'll probably have to go alone because Jake doesn't want to go to that either. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to seeing some Jazz games in person. Okay, no comment. Mr. Gnick says, what is your take on the idea of having our stars, Spider and Gobert, take load management? I don't think you can do it.
I don't think they need it, frankly. I don't. I mean, they're playing fine, dude.
Donovan has taken a beating. I mean,
But everybody says that. Dude, everybody in the league takes
does.
a beating,
No,
bro. Dude,
not the way he
seriously,
does.
Come on.
Dame does not take the beating that Donovan does. If you look at the way that Don plays, he attacks the basket, and when he's at the rim, he is up in the air. And he gets a lot of body contact, and he's taken this season to wearing padded undergarments, which I think is really important. But that's not protecting him.
Yeah.
I mean, he
doesn't protect your ACL, dude.
he just played. Well, it doesn't protect your back and your hip. It doesn't protect your shoulder or your wrist. Like, Donovan Mitchell's not a load management guy.
No.
He's not.
Nope.
And I think he wants to play. There's no doubt about that. Forgotten Soul says, yeah, like the Rockets game, I wouldn't mind Donovan and Gobert sitting. I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
I would agree. Maybe Donovan sat out, what was it, the Memphis game 2 weeks ago on the airplane thing?
Let me throw this question out there, though. So the Suns are 1 game behind. Let's say that you're tied with the Suns heading into the Rockets game. You still sitting Don?
Can't do it.
That's what I'm saying. They don't. That's the only thing that really comes into the load management conversation.
No, I could see playing him 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I could see giving him light minutes.
I don't like that either. I understand the compromise of light minutes, but I also feel like there's a big difference in saying, hey, you're taking the night off. You're gonna get your work in pregame, but you're not dressing for the game. As opposed to saying, yeah, we're going to play you like 15 minutes tonight.
Well, but the point is, though, and I think maybe the bigger conversation is, shouldn't you be able to beat the Houston Rockets without Don?
Yes.
I think they can.
Yes.
So I could see that. Eric C. says, morning, fellas. Who else is looking forward to the Padres-Dodgers series? Hell yes.
Dude, 100%. 100%.
By the way, and we have some more NBA to get to here, but why are you rushing Fernando Tatis back? Why? He's supposedly going to play tonight.
This whole thing has been very weird with how they've handled this Tatis situation. I mean, first it was, hey, he's got a torn labrum, like a micro tear in his labrum. of his left shoulder, not his right shoulder. And so then it was like, well, he's going to sit 10 days and we're going to see. And then 7 days into the 10 days, we start to see him hitting again, taking infield, all this stuff. And it just is a weird thing. So I don't know if maybe it just felt a lot worse than it was, or like maybe it was overreaction.
Dude, you don't partially tear your labrum and it feels okay.
Well, he doesn't, dude. He looks fine in the videos that I've seen of him. He looks completely normal, taking infield, throwing the ball.
And batting practice that I've seen, the ball jumps off the barrel.
Yeah, he does not look like he's hurt.
It's going to be a great weekend to bet sports in Vegas.
Yeah.
Troy says, I would sub if you guys weren't so biased. Homeboy assistant sucks off KD on the weekends, and you just like stirring the pot for no reason.
Yeah, well, here's the deal, man. I'm happy to suck off KD because he is the best scorer in the league. He's easily the best player. If he was on the Jazz, he'd easily be the best player. And if he was on the Jazz, they'd be going to the NBA Finals. So say what you want about the guy. I don't like his off-the-court antics. He's one of the best players in the league. Simple as that, bro.
Troy also says, and y'all are hella Biden supporters.
Well,
the funny thing about this, and this is what I love. This is, I'm not going to subscribe to you 4 more years, MAGA. I think I took so much hate because I said I wouldn't vote for Biden in any other year but right now because he's 109 years old. And I can't remember who it was, but somebody's like, hey, Dick, he's not 109. I know he's not 109. It just seems like he is, right? And now I get guy coming out like, you guys are hella Biden supporters sucking off Katie.
Let me guess. That guy's in the Bay Area. Let me guess.
Sucking off Katie on the weekends. Oh my God.
Are people Myron?
Yes. Yes, they are.
Okay, look, Troy. Don't subscribe, but please keep dropping sucking off Katie.
The truth is, I'm actually a modest person.
Oh my God.
Wow.
That, and never mind that I'm the guy who is A, Laker fan, and B, a Devin Booker fan, and everybody's like, oh, you hate the Jazz.
This is the Devin Booker show.
Well, when you're done sucking off KD, stop talking nice about the Jazz.
Wet like on book.
Comment section's always lit, dude. Comment section's always lit.
I needed that. JC. JC says, I voted for Jill Stein, so F it. Come at me, Troy. Oh my God, that's hysterical.
So I said, yeah.
We just don't take things so seriously.
I love the guy who comes over into the comments and is like, yeah, you guys are dumb and you don't watch Jazz games and I'm not subscribing. And it's like, I love the thought in that because that makes it seem like we're just so terribly desperate. And we're not. We're just here, like doing it.
Amazing. And Troy now has revealed himself. He says, why would underprivileged persons have to be black? There aren't underprivileged white kids.
Don't. Nope. We've already talked about it. We'll cut it up. We're not going back. We're not going back.
You and your mom are hillbillies.
Troy, please, don't subscribe, but please come back. I love you. I appreciate your opinion, and you're always welcome here. Who's the NBA MVP? I don't think there's any doubt right now it's Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, well, neither do the voters. Nikola Jokic got 90 votes out of what I believe is 101 is the total, I believe it is.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable.
My fandom wants Steph Curry to be in the conversation. However, I don't think that he is going to get looks for MVP. I don't.
Steph should get looks. If he breaks Klay Thompson's 3-point record, come on.
Well, dude, that's the funny thing though. You remember the other night when he wanted to go back in the game? He was at 11 threes.
Yeah, I know.
Through the third, he had a whole quarter, hit 3 more threes, and he was good. Like it just is. Steve just wouldn't let him back in the game.
Yeah. Giggity says, good morning, guys. Love that the first thing you hear in the show is KD getting sucked off.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
See, Troy, this is good content.
Yeah.
Forgotten Soul says Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
You can't win MVP as a 10 seed. That's probably true.
Yeah,
That's probably true.
yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I think that's the shame in it. You know, Steph is, and the other thing too is Steph has won MVPs already, so
Yeah.
I think that is also working against him.
Well, and I think what Jokic is doing, although, did you see his meltdown the other night? I thought this was interesting. They're getting blown out the other night, and he threw an absolute tantrum at the official, and Mike Malone benched him, and he refused to come to the huddle. And I think it is that competitive nature. This is why I said they got to sign Austin Rivers.
They need to.
They've got to do something. And this is, again, Jazz fans, you're going to hate this, but this is what elite teams do. When they have a need, they go and fill that need.
See the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah, Andre Drummond, perfect. There are guys, Aaron Gordon, LaMarcus Aldridge, who, man, that story sucks.
So sad, dude.
But when you have a need as a team, and there's a guy like Austin Rivers, your point guard tears his ACL.
Yeah.
Go and get a guy that can sort of fill in for him, because nobody's replacing Jamal Murray, let's be honest about it. But as an elite team and a contender, you would expect them to go and get an Austin Rivers to at least carry some of the load for Jokic, because Jokic is dropping triple-doubles with dimes in there. Like points, rebounds, and assists. That's incredible for a guy of his size. And Aaron Gordon has been the exact cure for what has ailed them.
Yeah, if you're still anti-Aaron Gordon, I don't know what game you're watching.
Well, and then all of a sudden Jamal Murray goes down, and everybody around the league is like, see, this is why we load manage. And I totally get that, but you got to go get Austin Rivers.
Yeah.
Because he can do a lot of things, but the kid can shoot.
Yeah.
He can play a little bit, I'm telling you.
He is a savvy NBA vet who can do some nice things for you.
He's not
an
going to
elite
kill you.
Player.
He's not going to kill you.
The nice thing is you can sign him to a 1-year deal for the rest of the season on not an egregious payment, and he'll do things for you.
Yeah. Forgotten Soul says, thoughts on LA retiring Hall of Fame. Well, I think he's close. I thought it was interesting. The guys on NBA on TNT last night brought up a really good point. I mean, what is the first thing that Damian Lillard said about LaMarcus Aldridge?
Yeah.
Put him in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Like, that's incredible. And retire his number. And
yeah.
they
need to retire his number.
I actually do think LaMarcus Aldridge is close. I mean, if he'd have won a championship in Brooklyn, he'd have been in.
Yeah.
I think he's a Hall of Famer. I think it's really close.
To be honest with you, I would agree, but I also haven't looked at his numbers, so I don't know exactly where.
I think his numbers will never be the issue. I think it's his persona. He's never a guy that dominated on the floor, but he did, because he's real underspoken. He's not a big personality. All that guy. When you're it's Pau Gasol.
Yeah.
What was Pau Gasol? A dominant mid-range player. And LaMarcus Aldridge is a dominant mid-range player, but he's not a guy that's going to dunk all over you. He's a guy that'll occasionally run the break, slam, finish, flex, cool. But overwhelmingly, LaMarcus Aldridge doesn't dunk on you. He kills you from the elbow.
Yeah.
He kills you from the with that free throw line jumper. And those guys historically have to do a little more to get in.
Yeah, and I think that he did a great job in that statement or comment or whatever you want to call it that he put out, talking about the fact that he really appreciated the Brooklyn Nets taking him with where he was as a player right now, because bigs right now in the league are not prioritized, and I think that was just speaks to who he is, and I think it's so unfortunate that he felt that the heartbeat issue. I think that's awful.
Well, and for those of you who don't know the story, LaMarcus Aldridge retired from the Nets yesterday, right after we crushed him for taking time off after he had taken time off. Wow, we're terrible. LaMarcus Aldridge retired because he had an irregular heartbeat, and he said it terrified him. He apparently was in his hotel room one night. I think it was Rachel Nichols had the story on ESPN, that he was in his hotel room one night and he couldn't control his heartbeat. And he was terrified, and he called the team doctors, and they took him to the hospital, and it turned out just to be an irregular heartbeat. He could have kept on playing, but he said, I'm at this point in my career where, A, he's made a ton of money.
Yeah.
B, he's done just about everything you would want to do as a player. And C, he values his family. So he said, I'm going to retire, and I'm going to prioritize spending time with my family and taking care of my health. And I say kudos to you, my friend.
Yeah.
You've earned the money. You've earned the right. You can do whatever you want. It just sucks to see a proud man lose his career like that.
Yeah.
And I think, but I obviously I'm glad he's not dead.
Yeah.
The last thing we need is another Hank Gathers.
Yeah.
He was a basketball player that died on the Anyway, point is, or another, you think about the guys who have been in this situation, Reggie, and we just don't need another one of those. So I'm really glad LaMarcus Aldridge is okay. I just think it's one of those things that's very difficult, and you have to be very careful with it. But I think it definitely damages the Nets, there's no doubt, because he's lethal. I mean, in crunch, the thing that made LaMarcus Aldridge great is exactly what he was going to do for the Nets, which was, hey, let me stand at the on the side. Let me hit a baseline jumper from 15 feet, and I'll do that routinely. And then when they take that away, I'll just go up to the top of the key and drop 15 feet from there. And just like a minute and a half to go, you're down one. He's going to hit a 15-footer.
And he's a solid rebounder.
And a good defender.
Yeah.
A guy that understands how to play with his forearms. Like, LaMarcus Aldridge gives you what you need from a veteran big.
Yeah.
And I think you're exactly right. When you realize that the NBA doesn't this is why Rudy Gobert is a problem.
Yeah.
You paid him $200 million in a league that doesn't recently doesn't use the big man to the tune of $200 million.
Yeah.
And he very much struggles to create his own offensive game.
Yeah.
That's going to come back to get the Jazz. Is that going to be now? Might be. Is he going to wind up on Patrick Beverley in the playoffs? That's going to be a problem.
Is Nikola Jokic going to take him to the woodshed? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. It is one of those things. A lot of people are commenting on Troy now. See, Troy, see what you did.
Let's hear him, bro.
Eric C.
Let's hear
says,
it.
Troy's the kind of guy, anytime it starts with that,
You know it's
Troy's
going to
the
be
kind
good.
of guy. Troy's the kind of guy, ... who thinks the people that storm the Capitol are fine people. Probably. My guess is Troy is a Trump voter, and Troy is a MAGA, guy. Matt Gaetz is innocent. Trump and the Russians. Now we know that the Trump campaign and staff were providing the Russians with election information, polling information, like all this stuff during the 2016 election. They were providing the Russians with intel on the election.
View this the same as the flu.
Okay. I mean, you at some point, Troy, you'll realize that not everything is one way or the other. Sometimes there is a middle ground. And I think a lot of these discussions, and Troy, I'm not saying you're wrong or that your opinion's insignificant, because it's not. But when we're talking about matters of race in this country, we have to have the ability to discuss it. And that's right, Troy, I tell you and everybody else on this show, I value your opinion. I'm glad you're here. I want to hear what you think. I don't have to agree with you. I'm not telling you you're wrong. I want to hear what you think. But if you run nonsense on the show, we're not generally the show that just gives you a free pass and says, okay, say what you want to say.
And then as you can see the performance in the comments.
Yeah, that's not how this game is played on the show. If you're here to just try to run people over, you're not. And by the way, I can see that several of Troy's messages were and I don't moderate comments. I allow YouTube to do it. YouTube has removed several of your comments, Troy. I had nothing to do with that. So it is what it is. Eric is the type of person who thinks Trump told them to storm the Capitol. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. But speaking of Trump, should we talk about MyPillow?
Yeah.
Real quick. Mike Lindell for MyPillow. Mike Lindell wants to be Jeff Bezos. And Mike Lindell is starting the My Store, where he is going to sell unique, one-off, highly and thoroughly vetted, quote-unquote, Americana items. And he is going to compete with Amazon. And his hope is to put Amazon out of business because of the way that Jeff Bezos owned Washington Post treated Donald Trump. Good luck.
I want it.
So let me get this right. MyPillow guy. Ow, and I just kicked my chair with my ankle, so that's probably dog it. MyPillow guy. You're being sued for billions, literally billions, by a software company that you slandered without evidence, and you still have not done your big reveal on Dominion that you said you were going to do. You still haven't done that. You're not allowed on Fox News anymore because you got them sued. You are not allowed on 99.9% of the radio stations in this country because they don't want to get sued.
I'm not a big fan of Fox.
Costco, Amazon, most retailers, I think Kohl's, Sam's Club, Walmart are in this group as well, will no longer carry or sell on their sites My Pillow. They no longer do that. And we're supposed to believe that My Pillow Mike Lindell is going to all of a sudden break out and be a competitor to Jeff Bezos?
You know what I think about when I hear
Mike
Lindell say that
Mike Lindell
that these are going to be like quote unquote highly vetted and reviewed, Americana items. You know what I think of? I think of him in his garage making some like knockoff thing and then lying and saying that it's like this amazing like piece of history and like it's amazing and it just screams of that.
Yeah. Troy said, never said that. You just think there is a good and bad side. I don't think there's a good and bad side. Eric is the type of person who thinks Trump told them to storm the Capitol. Okay. Eric C. says, this is a sports channel, Troy. How dare you? Exactly right, Eric C. Thank you. Sean says, Troy, I will say that the way he talked didn't help. Exactly right. Troy said, doesn't sound like it. LOL. Good one, Sean. You got me. Okay. Eric C. says, that's why Monty's show is the best.
Oh, my God.
We can all come here and don't matter what I think. We can have these discussions. That's
you know what I love, dude?
Exactly what this show's about.
Yes, I completely agree with that. But I love that we're essentially having a smackdown in the comments with all the commenters. We've got like Troy and Eric and Forgotten Soul, and like all these guys in the comments.
Okay, so my wife and Jake, you need to open up the Nike app right now because the Air Jordan 1 Low SE, pink, purple, white, is about to go live at 8 o'clock.
The Nike app.
The Nike app. Not the sneakers app, the Nike app.
Okay.
And this shoe is one of those shoes I'm pretty sure that Mrs. Monty wants. So I'm going to actually send her a text.
Okay, where is it, though?
It's in Nike. What do you mean?
I'm in the
Where is
Nike
it?
app.
Okay,
I don't see it, dog.
Just relax.
I don't see it. I want it. There
Jesus,
it is.
Troy,
hey, guys,
take
I
it
see
easy.
it. I see it. All right, I got it. I'm here.
Take it easy.
That's sweet.
I will admit that I have a shoe problem. And real quick, because I know we're long on time, I need to really seriously reassess why I'm not buying My Pillows instead of shoes.
Yeah, why are you not buying product from the My Store? Come on.
My Store. I have too many shoes. They need to finish the renovation on my house, by the way.
Yeah, what the hell is going on with that? Where is I'm going to get it done in a week guy?
They installed the shower door yesterday, and it's beautiful.
The shower door?
The
glass.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Frameless, it's gorgeous. They were going to install the cabinets today, but that's not possible. So they're going to do it on Monday, and then Wednesday the granite goes in, or the quartz goes in. Oceana quartz.
Uh-huh.
So Troy says, literally, I hope this channel dies. You guys come up with things just to get under people's skin so they will comment and get your channel in the algorithm.
What are you talking about, bro?
Most opinionated podcast I've ever heard. Bro, I've been doing sports talk radio for 30 years. Do you really think that this is like some new scheme I came up with to get subscribers? Guy, I've got how many subscribers do we have? I only have like 300 subscribers, man. What are you talking about? The scheme to get subscribers is we're giving away an Xbox when we get to 500, dick. Like, it's not. What are you talking about, man?
Oh.
And I appreciate you. Like I said.
Hey, hit the button. Hit the button, Donnie.
I'm trying to hit the button.
Hit the button.
Bro, it's not showing it to me.
It doesn't like you, dude.
Are you serious right now that it is not? Oh, my God.
Okay. While
Dude,
he's over here
I'm going to lose my
problems,
mind.
I would just like to say,
come on, baby.
If you
come
haven't
on, baby.
gotten an Apple card yet, get the Apple card, bro.
Yeah, the Apple card's great.
The Apple card's fire, bro.
Come on.
I'm in line.
I'm panting.
Yeah, I don't know what you're doing over there.
They're checking availability and letting you know if we
Yeah, it's just like the sneakers app, dude.
Mother of all things unholy. Anyway, Guy, I've been doing sports radio for 30 years. Do you really think I just came up with strong opinions? No,
What's
man.
the point of talking about stuff if you don't have an opinion? This is what I don't understand. That comment speaks to who he is.
Well, and I can tell you right now that YouTube is suggesting I block Troy. I'm not going to block you, Troy. I'm not hiding your comments. I'm not going to block you. You're free to say I suck all you want. You said we suck off KD already. Okay, that's fine. He literally said that earlier. Anyway, all right. There was one other thing. Oh, the engagement ring.
Yeah.
All right. So Jake broke up with his last girlfriend by text and printed porn.
That's quite enough. We get it.
He printed porn when he was a teenager. So I thought this would be right up his alley. So when you're done sucking off Katie, are you going to give him the engagement ring back? J-Lo and Alex Rodriguez. I'll stop. J-Lo and Alex Rodriguez broke up.
Uh-huh.
They were engaged.
Uh-huh.
And, oh, come on, dude. Give me the shoe. J-Lo and Alex Rodriguez were engaged. They broke up. J-Lo gave A-Rod the ring back. And a lot of people started asking, well, why'd she do that? Why'd you do that? Should you give back the ring if you end the engagement? I have some circumstances I say you don't, but what are your thoughts on it?
Yes, I think that I think that you give the ring back, yes. Because it's not really about the ring, it's a symbolic thing. So, you know, so I think that it's sort of like here you go, we're done, kind of a thing.
That's an interesting question, I guess. I just don't. Here's my thought on it. Okay, so if the man cheats on the woman, I don't think she should give the engagement ring back. If he's mean to her, abuses her, if there are any exigent circumstances as to why she ended it, okay, I don't think she should have to give the ring back. But,
$107 on the Apple Card.
Oh, no, I don't have $107 on the Apple Card, man.
Yes, sir.
Did you get them?
Yes, sir.
What did you? Oh,
yes, sir.
No.
Yes, sir.
Don't tell me you got them because
Yes,
that usually
sir.
means I didn't get them.
Let's go.
Oh, man. I hope I get these. I really want them. Anyway, I think if you just end the relationship because you don't want to get married, you should give him the ring back.
Yeah.
I think, but do you agree that if he like cheats on you?
Yeah, it definitely is. It is circumstantial. It depends on like how it happened, what the deal is. Like
here's the deal.
Here's the deal. Mike Lindell's a idiot.
Okay.
No, I think that yeah, you should most times give the ring back. But I think that if there is, if it's again, it's all situational. I mean, we can come up with 1,000 different situations about when you should and when you shouldn't and all that good stuff. But what I'm saying is that if it's just as simple as, hey, we've just decided that it's not going to work out, then yeah, give it back. And I think that I think that it's a thing where that ring sort of like reminds you of that person. You know, and so you just want to give that back. You want to be out of that.
Ilort Ganik, huh? Oh, no. See, I'm not going to get it either. Jake's going to be... My wife, Mrs. Monty, did not get the Air Jordan release today. And I guess I'm not going to get it either. Ilort Ganik says, give the ring back. There is this case on the Judge Judy show. Okay.
Judge Judy show.
Where a woman is collecting engagement rings from different men. I didn't get it. Gosh darn it. Daggity nabbit. I really wanted that shoe. That's too bad. Sold out. Oh well. Well, there are women who only do it to get the engagement ring.
Let me put it this way. There are people in the world who only do things to, for personal gain.
Well, Sean says it depends on the situation. If you are well off, you don't need to, but he gave it to you for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Eric C. says, damn, Troy, you don't like people have different opinions. It's Friday, bro. Chill out.
Thank you.
Exactly.
By the way, let's talk about Vegas. Let's get on something more positive.
Before we get out of here, because we're way over time.
We have time today. Yeah.
Please make sure you give us a thumbs up. If you're here watching the show right now, would really appreciate a thumbs up. Or Troy, if you want to give us a thumbs down, it's up to you. And please, if you're not subscribed to the show, give us a subscribe. Really helps the channel grow. And by the way, when we get to 500 subscribers, we are seriously going to be giving away an Xbox. And as we creep closer to that, I should look at what we're at because I don't know the exact. I think we're at like 360.
We're approaching 400. That's where we are.
Oh, we are. Okay,
we're
good.
Approaching 400.
But yeah, so we are at 374
there you go.
Right now. So as we get closer to 500, we will let you know. But we absolutely are giving away an Xbox to celebrate our 500 subscriber. You won't have to be the 500 subscriber. You'll just have to have subscribed to the show. And then we're going to do like a Twitter, Instagram tagging thing. And we're going to put everybody who tags us on Instagram or Twitter and is subscribed into a hat and pull a name. What?
That's some heat in that shoe, bro.
Shut up. Like you just love to gloat.
Yeah, because you don't? Because you don't?
I do. I didn't say I don't.
The other day when I didn't win Kobe's?
I won Kobe's the other day. That's right. I probably now am at 300 shoes. I have to be pushing. I'm at hundreds of shoes. It's too many. And once my bathrooms are done, I'll have an entire room in my house that's just closet and shoes, and it'll be in a much better place. So yeah, I'll keep.
So Vegas.
We're going to Vegas. We are really looking forward to the weekend. We're at the Cosmopolitan, and tonight we are having dinner at Mastro's. We're sitting in the treehouse, which is always great. It is at the Crystal Shopping Mall in City Center, and if you know Crystals, it's like all high end. So it's like Vuitton, it's Tiffany, all of that. So we are having dinner at Mastro's, and it used to be that we would go to Mastro's in Vegas 3 times a year to celebrate. And we've had a fantastic year. Believe it or not, the pandemic, I haven't gotten coronavirus, thank God. And now I'm double vaccinated, so that's why we're going out, because all of us are fully vaccinated now. So we're going back to Mastro's to kind of celebrate being able to celebrate. So that's tonight, and then tomorrow we are going to wear off however bad we feel by walking around and buying probably more shoes. But yeah, it's going to be great. We're gonna have a really good time. It's been a long time since we traveled. We usually, in pre-pandemic times, we usually travel all over the place, and we just haven't lately because of the pandemic, and it sucks.
Yeah.
It really sucks. It's been, and everybody here knows this. I mean, it's been a really rough year and a half at this point, or I guess just a year and a couple of months. And so we're ready to break back out of that. And I'm really looking forward to, we're going to Hawaii in November. Supposedly a year from now, we're going to Italy. We'll see, depending on what happens with the pandemic, but I just am really looking forward to it. I really, really, really am looking forward to getting out, letting loose. I love the Cosmopolitan.
I've never been to the Cosmopolitan.
I have. Back in the day when I was, one of the things I used to do is sell social media integration software. So we installed a bunch of screens at Cosmo, and it's freaking amazing. My wife is excited. Jake and I are not working at the Yelpatory today, which is exciting.
Need a day off.
Yeah, I need a day off too. So we're going to hop in the rig. And are we taking the Audi or the Jeep? We're taking the Jeep. The Jeep is more spacious. Yeah. So I think we're going to take the Jeep. We'll leave the Audi home. But it's going to be a great weekend. Follow us on Instagram. Jake is SLC Supercars. Although, didn't you just change your name to I Suck Off KD?
Yeah,
I believe you did.
Because Troy said that in an ode to Troy, because he's such a great individual. I did change my name on Instagram. Yeah.
Sucks Off KD on the weekend.
It's not fucking real.
It's not real. But that might be the greatest comment ever. Follow Jake on Instagram, SLC Supercars. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter, The Monty Show. Monty, The Monty Show. Play that funky music. I was going to say white boy, but that would upset Troy. I'm sorry.
Another good week of shows, bro.
Nyla Gardner says, Troy, some are racist, not all. Exactly right. Anyway, Troy, appreciate you and everybody else who's watching the show today. Please give us a subscribe. If you're here now, give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. Thank you for listening to our audio podcast as well. By the way, if you want to find our content anywhere, just open up a Google window and search The Monty Show. Monty, The Monty Show. You can go to themontyshow.com, direct link to YouTube. Hook it up, The Monty Show. Until Monday, say, no, I'm not. No, say the Cosmopolitan's amazing.
The Cosmopolitan's amazing.
Enjoy your weekend with KD, Jake. See ya.
Blowing KD.